Hi guys, it's Amy Brooks here. I'm here today for my first video in my new video series about mediumship and connecting to spirit, and I'm sure we'll come up with a ton of different topics as we go. One of the main questions I get asked over and over and over again is how I connect with spirit. And so I decided that this was a good starting point for my videos. So I've made a little list. I have 4 topics here, or 4 subtitles, and each of them are very interchangeable. They don't have to go in this order. Um, so the first one is trust, the second one is opening up, the third one is sharing, and the fourth is to put into action. So, like I said, they don't have to happen in that order. They can happen in any order, really. Well, the put into action is the final thing, but the other 3 really can be interchangeable. So I wanted to start to tell you, first of all, that in what my belief is and my experiences, and I know this is a very common one among mediums, is that yes, this is a gift, but this is not a specific gift that is just given to a few chosen few. Okay, this is a gift that we all have. The gift is not the ability um, to do this. The gift is figuring out how to do it. Anybody can do this, in my opinion. I think some people are more naturally inclined to be able to do it with little to no instruction or guidance. It just is what it is, and I am one of those people. Other people need a little bit more guidance, need more experience, need more instruction in order to do it. You may be one of those people. But we all are capable of this in my heart of hearts. That's what I believe. So I wanted to explain a little bit about what the difference between soul and spirit is, because this is something that used to confuse me when I was a lot younger, and I know that it's been asked a few times from other people where they're like, I'm trying to make sense of this, like how does this work? So this is how this works. Okay, when I was born and I grew up, I just have always had this real inherent sense of this is what happens. I remember being I don't know, in elementary school, I don't know the exact age, and talking to somebody about reincarnation. And I remember them going, it was the time of Ouija boards and all that stuff when you're younger and you're kind of curious about all that. And I spoke with like an air of authority, almost as if I just knew. And that's because I did. But, it's important to mention that nobody talked to me about this when I was younger. I don't come from a family that, now I know their beliefs, but at the time we certainly didn't discuss this stuff. I don't think I ever talked to my parents or any other member of my family about reincarnation or spirits. Never. Now I will, but as a child, absolutely not. So I just kind of always remember knowing this to be true, and just knowing that we live our life, we pass away, we come back as somebody else or something else. That's basically all I knew, but that's what I knew. And I also have never, I remember going through periods as a child about being fearful of death, but more in the sense of, I feel like the reason that was because I've gone through a few near-death experiences. My first, which is very unusual, and when I talk to people about it, they're like, really? Like that many times? Like I like to joke that I'm a cat and I'm on about my 7th life at this point. I don't know for real. I don't know how many I've been through, but I have had a few brushes with death, and the first one that I remember was when I was about 5 or 6. My mom may correct me in the comments when she watches, but I choked. I was watching a movie with my mom and I was eating something and I was laying down or jumping around, or I don't remember the exact situation, but I choked. And she went outside, she took me to the front of the house and she was giving me the Heimlich remover. She was giving me the Heimlich maneuver, and And obviously it was successful because here I am. But I very clearly remember that experience, and I remember seeing flashes before my eyes. My life did flash before my eyes. I was being given like little flashes. I need to look up what this thing is called, but you know when you're a kid, you know those things we had as kids that were, oh my goodness, the name is at the tip of my tongue. I should have looked this up. Where it's this little toy, and you put a piece of film in it that's circular, and you pull the lever, and a picture goes around and around. So you're being shown a new picture every time you click it. That's what the experience was like. It was like picture, picture, picture. And I remember it really clearly. There was also a few other experiences of choking, and then one also of a near drowning when I was at a pool, which then made me extremely fearful of water for quite a long time. And I was like about 11 before I learned to swim because I was so fearful. So I was fearful of death, and I think because I've had brushes with it at such a young age. But I wasn't fearful in the sense that I thought that was it and that's the end. And you know, I know I've talked to other people, and they're like, but when you die, that's it, and it's gone, and I'll never see that person again, and I'll never hear from them again, and that's over. And that is a really sad belief, because it's just, first of all, I don't believe that to be true at all, and second of all, it's just sad to believe that you'll never see your loved one again. And part of the reason that I'm making these videos is because I want to provide the comfort to you to believe and then execute this ability, so that you can have this comfort and this belief in your heart of hearts, so that you don't have to doubt, and you just have this sense of resolve about this. This is what the whole purpose of this is. You know, I do my mediumship with clients because I want to help other people heal, and I want to heal, you know, the heartaches and the blockages that they have, and I also want to provide them a gateway to their past loved one. Me making these videos is a way for me to be able to help you be able to do that yourself. So you don't need to rely on me or another medium all the time. If you carried this sense of belief in your heart, it would make my purpose complete, because that's what I'm here to do. And I believe that this kind of reawakening, like if you'll notice in society, like I mentioned this book on my page the other day. This reads like a textbook. It's really, really good. This is the be-all and end-all of Spiritist beliefs. This is a story about, it's not a story, this is a real life story of a man named Allan Kardec. And he was a scientist, and he was a teacher, and he got involved with, somehow in his social circle, with people that believed in spirits, and you know, in communicating with spirits. And it was a lot of the table turning and the, you know, levitating kind of stuff that you would see back in that time period. He got really involved with it, and they would have like seance type things where they would conjure up spirits, and there was a spirit that specifically always wanted to speak to him, and he was told in one of these sessions that in a past life his name was Allan Kardec. So that is the name he writes under. I think there are 4 more of these books. They're really fascinating. They're not easy reads because they have been written in Victorian times, and language was a bit drier back then, and also a little bit harder to understand, and also it's been translated from French to English. So it's not super easy, but it is written in a question and answer format. And so this is a really good book for anybody who's kind of just interested in having because spirituality is to me it's logical, but to a lot of people it's not logical. You know, it's kind of like woo-woo stuff. So this is written in a very logical way about something that might not feel logical. Question, answer, question, answer. There's nothing that he hasn't answered in this. So I'm just the tip of the iceberg here in reading this. I've got my highlighter like I'm truly studying this book, but it's just kind of affirming everything I already know, and that's really nice to have that experience. So I just wanted to recommend this to anybody that's interested in reading something like that. There's also a movie right now on Netflix called Kardec. I will warn you, it's kind of dry, and it is, there's subtitles because it's French, but if you already are naturally inclined to be very interested in this, it might be something you'd like to watch. Anyhow, so I wanted to talk today about, I have a tendency to be really long-winded. Some people really appreciate that. Some people are like, get on with it. So I've got a list and I'm going to try my hardest to stick to it. Okay, so like I said, I was just born kind of with this natural belief. And so it's not a far stretch for me. Like I kind of refer myself as self-taught, although I haven't been taught, but it's just, I didn't study this anywhere. I didn't receive any mentoring. This is just me and my beliefs and practicing and trusting. So number one I wrote was trust. And so just what I mean is just, if you are a little skeptical, I'm kind of suggesting something like this because it might help you with those answers that you have. Some people are not. I feel like most of the people that are going to watch this are not skeptical. You are my clients or my friends or my family, and you, like me, have this either inherent belief that this is actually true and you've always known this, or you're very, very curious about it and something within you is telling you, okay, there's something here and I need to like really figure out what this is. But I'm drawn to this topic or I'm drawn to this person, and this is why. So it's all about trust. That, like, literally it's all about trust, okay? And I know that can sound kind of hokey or, you know, it's general, but it's true. And so this is how I like to explain it. Somebody said this to me years and years ago, and I've never forgotten it. And it's just like the perfect description of how I had to explain this. Okay, so imagine that you are looking down on like a town or a city, and you're seeing rooftops and houses, and it's nighttime, and some lights are on. Most of the lights are not on, but there are houses that have their lights on. Okay, this is how I explain spirit. So spirit tries to visit everybody. Okay, spirit will visit everybody. Spirit will visit those that don't have their lights on. You know, at Halloween, when the people that don't have their lights on, but the kids still try, that's spirit. Okay, so they're still going to try. They'll still come to you in different ways and give you signs, and you're just not getting it. Okay, and then there's other people that have their lights on. These are the people that are just trusting, and they just know. They just know it to be true, and the signs that they're given or the messages they're given, they don't question it. They just know it to be true. I am somebody that's always had my lights on. So when signs and things come to me, I don't question them. I don't go, but maybe it's just, I don't do that, and I never have. It's okay to question it. That's human nature. But I'm just hoping to be able to answer some of your questions when it comes to that. So to me, spirit will often come, so this is my experience. Spirit, like I said, has always been a natural belief of mine, but that's as far as it went. When I was very newly, like I'm talking like 7 days post-conception of my first child, I had a dream about her specifically. Her name, that she was a female, what she looked like, you name it, I dreamt of it. And I woke up the next day thinking, okay, yeah, you know, I didn't plan to have a baby right now, but I'm having a baby and I'm having a daughter. And sure enough, I was. Nobody believed me because they're like, you wouldn't even be able to get a positive pregnancy test. There's no way. But I was. And I didn't receive concrete confirmation that she was actually a female until I think I was about 8 months pregnant. But up until that point, you know, I had her whole room decorated, all her clothes bought. I had like wooden letters on her wall of her name. You were not going to convince me that she wasn't female. I knew she was. This happened again with each of my pregnancies. In my second pregnancy, I was very, very newly pregnant. Again, wasn't aware of it just yet because it was so new. And my dad's brother passed away. He was only a couple years older than I am now. He was very young, and it was very sudden and tragic, and it was very sad. And I think like that experience of dealing with the sudden passing of him and the grief and, you know, the funeral and all that really made me not realize that I was actually pregnant. And so I was just distracted by what was going on and wasn't paying attention to my body. But eventually, you know, within a few weeks, I did realize, and early on in the pregnancy, around 10 weeks pregnant, he came to me in a dream. Now, I know this now to be a visitation. At the time, I thought it was a visitation, but, you know, I believed it, but I wasn't like sure enough to scream it from the rooftops. Now I know for sure it was a visitation. But he came to me and he basically affirmed everything I already believed in about, you know, when everybody has a life purpose, and that when you pass away, you are then given the opportunity to do it again and to do it again and again and again until you get it right, and that all of our life's challenges and the heartaches and the things that we go through as humans, which people try to explain, like the reason that people question this is, how could all of this happen? Why would I purposely choose a life full of pain? You know, why would I do that? Well, because when you are not in this human vessel and you are the universal all-knowing that we all are and we all have inside of us, but when we are outside of that, when we passed away, we can see everything in a different way, and we are on a mission, and our mission is to get it right, you know. And maybe your lesson in life is, I don't know, forgiveness. Maybe it's forgiveness. Maybe you purposely choose a life where you know you're going to have that tested. That's going to be something that you have to work through. And so then you're given a lot of crap in your life to teach you the lesson of forgiveness. That's what I believe, and that's what I think happens. So I kind of like just visualize a card catalog, say, like, which don't, who uses card catalogs anymore, but just picture that, okay, and your spirit, and you are no longer in your human vessel, and you're looking through and you're like, okay, here's Amy Brooks, okay, this is what she's going to be like, this is what she's going to look like, and this is generally what her life is going to, this is the generalization of what her life will be like. Nothing is set in stone, okay? Like, we all have freedom of choice. There could be a general winding path that's going to lead somewhere, or that we hope, as when we are this universal all-knowing, we hope it's going to lead here because this is going to lead to the lesson that we need in order to grow and move on to the next one. But we are able to say, we change this course every single day by the decisions that we make. So, you know, when Spirit comes through with guidance, it's to get you back on that path that's going to lead you there. It's not that specific situations and experiences are set in stone. It's that there's an end goal. Okay, so I hope that explains that to you. So spirits come through to those that are open in dreams. If you dream randomly of a past loved one, trust that that is a visitation. You think about how we dream all the time, all night long. Every sleep we have, we are dreaming when we're in REM state, okay? How often do you wake up and remember your dreams? It's probably not it's certainly not as many times as you actually dream. If you wake up and you remember a dream, write it down, pay attention. There's a message there. You wouldn't remember the dream if there wasn't a reason for you remembering it. If you dream of a past loved one, please know that this is a visitation. They are giving you a message of somehow. It might not always be, puppy dogs and hearts. They might give you a memory or a message that brings up a painful situation. They are not doing that to hurt you. They're doing it because they're saying, hey, I need you to focus on this. I'm here to help you grow and move forward to where you need to be. And so this is something that you need healing from. This is something that you need to work on. I'm just shining a light on it so that you do that. That can happen. Sometimes dreams aren't always super nice when you dream about spirits. Sometimes they can deal with painful memories, but the intention is never to hurt you. It's to shine a light on something that you need to deal with. Also, spirit will come through just in terms of your intuition. That feeling that you get in your gut when something's wrong, or we know what's right already. Inside of our intuition, we know what's right. We don't always listen to that. Some of us never listen to that, but it's there. It's always there. You know what the right decision is. You're just, the other factors are at play so that you're not listening to that. But that is such a important thing to focus on, is your intuition. It's everything, okay? And so when I say that I'm an intuitive person, that just means that I am trusting of my intuition and that inner guidance and voice. So it's learning to trust, first of all, okay? So those of us that trust, so say you don't trust at all. Say you are not, I'm going to use my husband as an example. My husband is a very science, logical kind of guy, okay? He would never say, I don't believe in this, it doesn't exist, because I think he might have said that before he met me, and we've had this experience, and this is how the path that I've been led to and what I'm doing, because he knows that I'm real, and he knows that I'm authentic and truthful, and he knows what I'm doing is real, but his logical brain can't explain it, and so he's just kind of like, okay, he just closes the door on it. It's not that he doesn't believe, but he's not really ready to open the door further and explore it more, which is fine, because we're all on our own path, and I would never shove something down somebody's throat. But if he dreamt of a past loved one, he would say, well, I was just dreaming of my grandma, that's all it is. Whereas I would be like, so my dad came to me last night and he told me this and this and this, so I think I better work on this and this and this. It's just a difference of trust. It's not that only some people are being visited, it's just some people are taking it for a spiritual visitation, and some people are like, oh, they come up with another reason. So this trust, opening up, kind of very interchangeable. Now so as I was explaining, Spirit's always been visiting me, but I wasn't able to purposely connect. I didn't know how to do that. And so what happened was I opened myself up, but then I was just open all the time. So going to Costco was absolutely a nightmare, I was picking up on everything, and because I hadn't really figured out the balance of this, I was just picking up on the sensation of spirit being around, and what that can feel like is anxiety, so the racing heart, the picking up on physical sensations from spirit, which is what often that's how they start a connection with you, is they will make you feel what they felt. And it's to provide evidence to the family member that it's them. That's usually how they connect. So if somebody has passed away of, you know, a heart attack, they will make me feel pressure in my chest. I will just feel pain, you know, and so now I'm able to go, okay, so I think the spirit that's with me is telling me that they had heart issues, or, you know, something to do with the chest, and then I can keep going. But when I wasn't really sure about what was happening, I would just get these physical sensations. My ears would ring, you know, I'd get a headache. I just felt extremely anxious, really, really anxious, and it was awful. And I remember one night saying, okay, I don't know what this is, but I can't deal with this, and I don't want this, and this is scary, and I don't want this, and so take it away. And I heard very clearly, just tell us when you don't want us to be, like, just tell us when you're ready and when you're not. You are in control. You can say, I'm ready, I'm here, and you can say, I'm done. I'm done. I'm going on to, like, what I need to do with my life. And as a mom and a wife and a person, that's really important, because I can't be connecting with spirit 24/7. Like, I would have no ability to do anything else with my life. It would be overwhelming and all-consuming, because spirit, they're everywhere, and they want to talk. They see my light on and they're like, yeah, message, I want you to tell my loved one this thing. And so I'm happy to do that, but I need to do that all my time. So I've learned how to open up and close, and that is extremely important. So now I am only open when I ask to be. I'm not open right now. I'm not open when I go to Costco. I'm not open when I'm out for a walk with my son. I'm only open when I say, hey, it's time. So before I do a reading, about 10 to 15 minutes before I do a reading, I will sit down and I'll just start taking some deep breaths, and I will talk to spirit in my head, and I will envision myself opening up. Okay, so how I do this is I envision my aura, and I envision it kind of coming out of me and kind of enveloping me. And this is how I say I'm open. And then right away, spirit is there, right away. And then when I'm done, I do the same thing, but to close. And so this has really helped me, because it gives me the control in the situation, and it makes me more comfortable to want to do this, because I'm not overwhelmed by it. They know to respect my boundary. If you put a boundary in place, they will respect it. They're just excited. They just want to talk and get their message through. And so my third point was to share. Now, before I learned to really connect on my own terms, so my dad passed away about a year, almost 2 years ago. And for that first year, I wasn't connecting with him in terms of, like, him giving me messages. He would just leave things for me, signs. Okay, I started with dimes, and I'm telling you, I was finding a dime almost on a daily basis in the most random place all the time. Or I'd say, okay, if you're there, give me a sign. And literally, it was right there. And it was so unbelievable. And it happened so often that it could no longer be explained as a coincidence. And I started to share about it. I started to talk about it. So what I did was I took the plunge of, you know, maybe seeming like I was crazy. And I started posting on my Facebook page, my personal Facebook page. Every time I found a dime, I'd take a picture and I would say hashtag dad's dimes or whatever I did. And it started a conversation, and other people were like, oh my God, I find dimes all the time. Or, you know, oh, that's awesome, I'm so excited for you. And it started this kind of like, it started a momentum. And it's like the more you are open, and the more, because that also proves trust and belief to spirit, because you're willing to put yourself out there and talk to people about it, and you're also sharing your experience so that somebody else is comfortable sharing their experience. And so essentially you're raising consciousness. People are becoming aware of things that they might otherwise go, oh yeah, I dreamt of my grandma, but that was just a dream, you know. When you plant a seed in this way, then they're like, oh, okay. And then you know, your thought processes start to change, and so spirit wants that. That's why I can do what I can do, because spirit wants me to do this, and spirit wants me to share and to help other people be able to do this, because the more people that are able to do this, the better our lives and the world is going to be, quite honestly. I always say after I do a reading that I feel like I've made a new friend. That may sound completely hokey. It's not. Truly, I feel it in my soul. If after I do a reading and I'm able to connect to somebody and to that somebody's loved one, and I can feel the depth of their love for, like, the spirit, I can feel the love that they have for their loved one, and the admiration and the encouragement, and then I also am picking up on the client, and I can, you know, sometimes we talk about things that have happened to them, sometimes we talk about, you know, unpleasant things and mistakes they've made, things they might be embarrassed about, and it's just all brought to light in a very accepting and loving way. And once, like, now that I can do that, I have so much, I've always had a love for people, but I have so much love and admiration for people to a level that is just beyond, because you begin to see everybody for truly what they are inside and not just what you think they are. And imagine if everybody could do that. Imagine how wonderful life would be if we all just could see each other's souls the way that we can see people's appearances. It would just be amazing. And that's kind of like, that's the goal. That's what we're working towards. And so you'll notice in society, you know, back in Alan Kardec's time, this was very shunned upon. He had trouble getting published, you know, like the mediums in his book that he worked with were getting run out of town and stoned and just awful, you know, and the history repeated itself like a lot over time. And now we've kind of reached a point where more and more people are talking about this, and they're more accepting, and there's not this level of like fear around it that there used to be. There's just this real curiosity and acceptance, and that's what's supposed to be happening, and that's why more people are kind of awakening to their own abilities. It's all like, it's a greater plan. It's all supposed to happen this way. People will often refer to people like me as a light worker, and what that means is that we chose our current lives because we are meant to spread this message, and we are meant to help other people become aware of it as well. And so the more that happens, the more light workers there are, the more harmony and unity in the world, the consciousness will be greater. So that's the whole point of all of this. Now the last thing I had listed down was to put into action. So this, like I said, is very interchangeable. It's learning as much as you can. It's putting yourself out there. It's believing. It's talking to other people about it. It's educating yourself, watching a video like this. It's and it's then taking all those other steps, because you can't put into action without those other steps, and then doing this for yourself. So it's taking the chance. You know, so if you go to bed tonight and you have a dream about a friend of yours, it's taking the chance and going, you know what? So I had this dream about you last night, and I dreamt that you were gonna have a baby, and the baby looked like this, and this is what I felt about this. And then the other person will go, well, you know, I haven't told anybody this, but we're trying to have a baby, or I haven't told anybody this, but I'm actually like pregnant, really newly pregnant. This happens, I promise you. I can't tell you how many times I have put myself out there. I am an introverted person. I don't necessarily feel like I'm shy, because I can be very extroverted, but I I respond to people's energy. So if you have a really open, high vibration kind of energy, then I'm going to be like talking constantly and like really wanting to get to know you and feel comfortable with you. If you don't, then I'm probably going to seem like I'm really shy or introverted, and it's just because I'm not really sure where I stand with you, or I'm not sure of your energy. But I can't tell you how many times I put myself out there and told a person that I just met. Okay, this is one story. I'm not going to give specifics because I don't want to give anything away, but one of my friends that does follow me here, I met her online, and she was like a friend of a friend. And the first time I ever met her in person, she sat across from me, and I looked at her, and I saw in my mind's eye. But I should clarify that when I'm seeing spirit, when I'm when I am experiencing a visitation from spirit, I'm not seeing them in front of me in human form. It's all in my mind's eye. So it's like a thought or a memory coming through. So I'm sitting there and I see a baby, and I know what the baby looks like, and I get a general sense of who this baby will be. And I literally just put myself out there and said, so this is a really weird question, but are you planning to have another baby? You know, and this opened up a big communication, and it turns out that yes, and you know, and it was just putting myself out there and seeing what happens, and that's putting it into action, and that's the end goal. So the last thing I wanted to touch on really quickly before I go, because like I said, I tend to be long-winded, and we're at 36 minutes here, and I was hoping to keep it around 30, is the difference between a soul and a spirit. This is something that confuses, it used to confuse me, and it confuses people, I think, because it comes up a lot. If I have this deep belief in reincarnation, and I believe that that you are, so let me start over. So I'm human vessel, you know, this is my armor. This is what I've chosen. My soul has chosen to go into this body and this life. When I pass away, my body stays with the earth. It doesn't go anywhere. Okay, it dies. My soul goes back to where it came from, to this universal all-knowing, whether you call that God, whether that you call that the universe. To me, it's all the same thing. We can get into this in another day because it's a huge, huge topic. But it goes back, and then the card catalog comes up again. Okay, so then we're looking through and we're like, okay, here, I'm going to reincarnate into this person because this person is going to give me I am going to be able to fulfill or to push along my purpose in this life. And then that soul then reincarnates into that life. So then if that soul is reincarnated in that life, then how am I able to connect with the energy of that soul if that soul is somebody else now? A soul and spirit are two different things. Okay, so just as our body and our soul are different, a soul and spirit is different. The soul is reincarnated. The spirit doesn't ever go away. Never. It's always there. So just like radio frequencies that are in the air, you know they're there. They're playing your music from somewhere else, and you're able to turn on the radio and hear it. You don't need proof that they exist. You just know they do. This is spirit. Spirit is always around. It's just energy. So that person's energy never dies. It never goes away. It's always there. It's always at our fingertips for us to connect with and talk to. It's how we can connect with people that died 100 years ago. It's how I can connect with somebody that's been reincarnated 3 or 4 times since they passed away. But that energy of that life never, ever, ever goes away. It's always there. And, realizing that and believing it to be true has provided me with so much comfort. I can't even explain. And the whole purpose of these videos is for me to help you have that inner peace and knowledge for yourself so that you can feel that way too. Like, isn't that what it's all about? Like, can you imagine how peaceful you would feel knowing that your loved one, you will see them again. They're not gone. You can talk to them, because you can. And in my next video, I'm going to talk more about how to purposely connect with spirit, how you can do that too. Okay, so I hope this video provided you with some answers about the hows and the whys, and I will get into the nitty-gritty of connecting next time. I don't want to make this video too long, but remember, trust, open up, share, and to put into action. Okay, if you have any questions, I would love to hear it, feedback, anything. I'm always here for you. Talk to you soon. Bye.